Hi guys, this is the Marches Online Club and I have a few projects that I want to share with you. All of our projects are done using Vellum this month, so I wanted to give you a quick overview and then I'm going to walk you through each project step by step. So this is the first one. We have one that incorporates some Vellum into the background of your card. The second one is incorporating one of our second release celebration rewards, which is this beautiful embossed colored vellum in the background. And then finally we have some detailed cut vellum that we're going to put into it. So I hope you enjoy this video. Remember that this is the last time that you can incorporate celebration rewards into your orders. This is the second release brochure, so you probably don't have this one yet, but it is online and it does have a whole variety of new items that you can choose from, as well as all of the old items as well. So those are some things to keep in mind as you're getting ready to place your club order. Are you guys ready to see what we're doing? Okay, here we go. So for your first project, this is what we are making today, and we're going to be incorporating some vellum technique into the background. So when you get your kit, your supplies are going to look like this. So what you'll want to do is pull everything out, and I'm also going to be providing a supply sheet so you know what to grab from your craft room. And again, if you don't have all of the supplies, that's fine. You just need to kind of make it work. And I'm going to show you another example of a project that you could do using these supplies without having that stamp set. So first of all, let's focus on the technique. So we're going to start with the vellum, and vellum is a bit of a unique paper because it has sort of a plastic-y feel to it. It also is quite see-through, so you do have to be quite cautious with how you put the adhesive onto it. But what makes it very cool is because you can see through it, you can kind of do a stained glass technique. So here we're incorporating our Stampin' Blends. These are our alcohol markers, and we are using, for the yellowy color, it's Dark Mango Melody. And for the darker color, the orange color, we're using Dark Pumpkin Pie. We're coloring on the back because we want to have sort of that frosted look shining through. So because you're coloring on the back, and there really isn't a back or a front until you actually color on it, what I want you to do is color on the left-hand side of the paper, because when we flip it over, we want it to be on the right-hand side of the paper. So we're going to start with our lightest color, and so we're coloring the yellow down from the top. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. You're just sort of making a yellow splotch onto the paper. Then you're going to add in the orange. And we're going to kind of color that all the way down to the bottom. So it looks like you're putting a little bit of a watercolor mark onto the paper. And if you want, you can go back in with your yellow and you can just kind of pull in the colors together. And the alcohol is going to do its magic. I'm just going to color off my yellow so that it doesn't incorporate any of the orange into the tip, but no big deal there. Okay, so now you're going to set it aside to dry, and when we flip it over is when you're going to get that look on the right hand side. Now, like I said, you want to ensure that you're using your adhesive strategically when you're using vellum. So what I've done into this project is I've incorporated in a border, and that's using the designer series paper that coordinates with the lipstick and the purses. I should know the name of this, but I don't. We're going to take our snail adhesive. Again, this will all be on your sheet that comes with these projects. So I'm going to layer that in on the side. So now we're going to bring in the tie. So we're going to ink it up with Bermuda Bay, and you're going to stamp it onto Whisper White. And from there, you're going to fussy cut. So you will need a pair of scissors. So we'll bring in our snips, and we're going to cut that out. This is what the whole set looks like. It's called Well Dressed. So this is free with a $60 order. It's great with Father's Day coming up and some more masculine themed birthday cards and so on. But it is kind of fun for a project like this. So you're going to take this and you're going to use snail adhesive. And you're going to layer that onto your vellum, just like that. Now we're going to take this and we can use the places where we've added paper to disguise where our snail adhesive is going to hide behind the paper piercing. So now we're going to go ahead and layer that onto our card front, just like that. So the next thing is we're going to add the die cut thing. So this will be included in your kit. And if you have a take your pick tool at home, this is very easy and handy to do. You're going to use the sticky end to pick up the greeting. Then you're going to take your glue and you're going to dab it onto the back of the word. Just like so. Okay. So now it's ready to adhere to the front of your card. So we'll just flip it over and slide it off onto the card front and just press it down. If you have a little bit that's sort of leaked out of the side, this is where I like to take a baby wipe and just kind of pick up some of the excess so it doesn't get all sticky on the front. And now we can take our cardstock that's meant for the card base and fold it. And before we adhere this card front on, you're going to take the piece of ribbon that comes in your kit and you're going to fold it in half. And you're going to hold it onto the back of your card front. And then use your, you probably have a stapler at home. Use your stapler and you're just gonna staple that so you've got this little loop on the top. Just adds a little bit of interest. Now we can use our snail adhesive and we'll adhere it to the front of your card, like so. So that's the finished project. And of course you've got the envelope that came with your kit. So that means you've got an envelope now to be able to send this card. So I said I'd show you an example of what you could do if you don't have this stamp set at home. And so let me show you that. So this one is using the heart set that you probably already bought. This is from the mini catalog. So I've just taken the Bermuda Bay and I've stamped the heart, punched it out and layered it down in place of the tie. And then your thanks can just go right over top. So that's a way that you can incorporate it in if you don't have the second release celebration item at home. Okay, great. We're gonna move on to our second project. Here's our second project that we're making for the Vellum Club. I just love the simplicity of it and the details that comes with the second release celebration vellum. It's colored and already embossed, so a lot of the work is already done for you. This card was inspired by someone I follow on Instagram called Hammond Penny. She's actually one of the creators of the Stampin' Up! Projects for the catalog, and I love her stuff, so I sort of did my take on this. So let me show you what your kit will look like when you open it up. So you've got yourself the card base and the ribbon, the vellum, and the die cut piece, as well as the sequins with the self-adhesive backing. So here is how this is going to come together. I'm going to start with the piece that has the scallop edge die cut, and I pulled from this stamp set from the mini catalog. So this one is called Forever Blossoms, and it's in that Parisian suite, but I love these. We're only going to catch a little corner of it, so let me show you what I mean. We're using Crumb Cake, which is the color of the cardstock, so we're doing tone on tone, and we're going to ink up just this little part at the top, and I'm just going to stamp it in the corner, like so, just like that. Now we're going to use our embossing buddy. This is a little bean bag that's filled with powder, and it just helps to take away any moisture that might be left over from the stamping, but also any static that might be on the paper. This is great if you're in a hurry and you want to keep stamping and you don't want to have to worry about drying in between. So I'm going to stamp Hello Friend, and this is coming from the set that coordinates with one of the kits that's in the mini catalog. I love the big bold greetings that come from that, and they're great to be used on other projects like this one. So we're going to stamp the vellum, sorry, the Versamark, I should say, and that's just on the Crumb Cake. Now we're going to take our white embossing powder and we're going to sprinkle that over top of our greeting. So just tap it until you have no excess left around the word. You can always use a brush or a nail to kind of get off the excess. Now I'll use my heat tool to emboss it. So once you have it embossed, you're going to now adhere it to the vellum. And we're going to use dimensionals for that. So I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to add a dimensional to each one of the corners. This one has a lot of backings on it. Just like that. 2 more. And peel off your backings. So now we're going to line this up onto our vellum piece, just like that. You just want to make sure that this end isn't sticking down to your scrap paper. So now I'm going to take my cardstock and I'm going to be able to use the where I've layered that piece to hide my snail. So now this is going to line up onto our card front. So the next part is we're going to take our ribbon. You can use a bow tire for this. And remember, you're going to wrap it around the poles and then you're going to change hands. The piece that's on the bottom goes through at the top and the other piece goes through at the bottom. Then you're going to tighten it and tie a knot. Just like that. So when you pull it off, you have a bow that's ready to add to the project. So the next thing is we're going to take our mini glue dot, just peel off the backing, and you can use your bow to grab that glue dot and stick it into place. And last but not least, we're going to bring in our sequins and just use either scissors or a pokey tool, and we're going to add that onto our card front. Just like that. There you go. So again, you might be going, I don't have those stamp sets. So let me pull in something that you might have. And again, this vellum comes in different colors. So you can see this is the pool party version of it. This is using the beautiful butterfly stamp set that came out last year. It's still in the annual catalog. And just with a black ink pad. So if you don't have embossing things at home, you can just stamp black over top of it and it looks just as beautiful. Here you can see I've incorporated in the white crinkle ribbon, and here's the green version of those same sequins. Isn't that pretty? So this is your second project, and we're going to move on to our third one now. All right, for our final project, this one was inspired by one of our artisan stampers, and I absolutely love this layout. And I feel like it's so versatile. It's kind of going back to our roots where we had a lot of the shabby chic kind of look. And it brings in a few different stamp sets. So let me show you which ones those are. The first one is Daisy Lane. So this is the set that coordinates with the Daisy Punch. But we're using the stem and the leaves from this part of the set. We're also bringing in artisan textures. So you can see this one doesn't show exceptionally well in the catalog because it's just a bunch of blobby things, but you'll see as we bring it into the project how you can use it. It's sort of a go-to for a lot of different reasons. And then finally, we're going to the Parisian Beauty stamp set. So we're pulling in these words in here. I just love that scripty word. And again, you could do this card with just this stamp set if you wanted, but I like the idea of bringing in the Poppy Moments dies. So just as a reminder, this is what the Poppies dies set looks like. It comes with all of the different floral parts of the poppy. And when you get your kit, you're going to have them all die cut for you. I know, you're welcome. So pull it all out, and this is what you're going to have. I'm going to set aside my card base for the moment, and I'm just going to work first of all on the card front. So I'll set aside my layers. So for the card front, you have a piece of Whisper White, and you're going to start by taking a sponge dauber with Coastal Cabana ink. You're going to pick up some of the ink with your sponge dauber, and in that lower right-hand corner, you're going to sponge some of the ink onto the page. Just like that. So it doesn't need a ton, just a little bit. All right, so we can set that aside. Next, you're going to take your Memento ink, and you're going to take that fun scripty stamp from the Parisian set, and you're going to ink it up full strength, and you're going to stamp that here. Then you're going to lift it up, and you're going to stamp it down here so that it's just a little bit lighter. Next, we're going to bring in some Old Olive, and you're going to add in these vines. So you want them to kind of be curling in towards the center because we want it to look like the leaves are kind of moving towards the flower, and we're going to use that big poppy in the middle to hide the excess. So I'm actually stamping off because I want it a little bit lighter, and I'm just filling in the sides like that, and then I'm going to stamp off one more time and bring one more into the center, like so. So the next thing, while we've got our Old Olive open, we're going to take the Artisan Textures stamp. I'm just going to clean it off. And I'm going to pick up the ink, and I'm going to stamp off two times, and then I'm going to add some texture into the corner. Same thing, I'm going to go do that over here. This time we're going to do it 3 times and just add a little bit of texture there. And you can even do a little bit more without restamping over there. So at the moment, this kind of looks like a mess, but stick with me. We're going to make it turn into something beautiful. So our next part is we're going to take our greeting. So this says birthday wishes. And again, you could use any greeting that you have at home. And we're going to stamp that in the lower left-hand corner. And then what I love is this technique. So now we're going to take in our Stampin' Write marker. So I'm using black, but again, you could use gray, you could use any color that you have on hand. And we're going to take this marker and we're going to use the pen end. So not the brush end, but the pen end. So that has the fine, thin line. And we're going to take it and we're going to freehand. So don't panic. It's really meant to be messy and not perfectly straight. And then every once in a while, we're going to make a break in the drawing, and we're going to add just a couple of dots. So it kind of gives that look of a vintage postcard. And just keep pulling that along the bottom, just like so. And wrap it up around the side, add a few more, and keep going all the way around. And finish it off here. So now we have that look. So you can see that it's starting to get a little bit of shape. So let's pull in now our poppy pieces. I'm going to set aside the card front for a minute. So here's where the vellum is coming into it. Well, we have 2 black center pieces, and we have leaves, and we have the poppy middle. So I'm going to start with the leaf. If you have a Picket tool, this is a really great time to bring it in. So you're going to pick up the darker green leaves. You're going to take your glue and you're going to add a couple dabs onto the leaves here. So we don't go crazy, but we're going to add a little bit, right? Just so that the leaves are going to stick down well. And then we're going to set this on top of our Old Olive leaves. And they're not meant to line up perfectly, which I kind of love, but we're just gonna layer them like that. So you're just gonna set that aside to dry for a minute. While that's drying, you're going to pull out some more texture. So again, you could do this, we're gonna pull out some more texture. You could do this with just by putting your stamps directly onto the paper if you don't have this set. But I'm gonna show you how you can really use this set to make it look like you've done some great sponging and coloring. So we've added some Flirty Flamingo, and now we're gonna add Melon Mambo. This is gonna be the more bold of the two. And you're just gonna go right over top until you have the colors that you want on there, okay? So now we're going to bring in that take your pick tool again, and we're going to grab our vellum, and this time we're going to put on a dimensional in the center, just like that. And the trickiest part is just lining up where it matches. It's actually not that tricky. Just like that. So now we're going to take the center pieces and we're going to layer that in there. So again, pick up your centerpiece. We're going to add a little bit of glue. And we're going to layer it so we disguise our dimensional. That's working with vellum is so much just about hiding your adhesive, but you can get pretty creative with it. So again, using our tool, we're going to layer that over top, just like that. So I like to pull in my Wink of Stella. If you don't have Wink of Stella, you're going to need to grab some because this stuff is just so cool. And you're going to layer some platinum shimmer on top of the black. That just really makes it come to life. So now we have, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but now we've got this shimmery piece in the center. So now let's bring back our card front. So this is going to adhere onto here, but before we do that, we're going to put our leaves into place. So instead of cutting out 3 different sets of leaves, which is kind of a pain, we're going to use this same one. So I'm going to snip it here. I'm going to snip it here. And then we're going to use those to add it into place. So what I've done is I've taken my snail adhesive, and just on the back of this flower, I'm going to grab these 2 pieces, and I'm just going to layer that into place like that. Then I'm going to do the same thing below, like that. And then this flower is going to go up at the top, or sorry, leaf, this leaf, just like that. Okay. Now I like to use my dimensionals to just sort of reinforce these leaves. So I just layer them over top, just like that. And now I can peel these off and throw it onto the card front. Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. Okay. Finally, we're going to add some dots onto there. So I'm going to use my scissors to just slide these off, and I'm going to add a couple of old olive rhinestones. And now we're going to add it onto our card front, or sorry, onto our card base. So just fold this in half and use our snail adhesive. And we can layer it like this. So again, whatever you have to make a collage is going to work. I wanted to show you how I've gone a totally different way using the Magical Mermaid stamp set. So this is one from the annual catalog. I love it, but I'd never opened it before. But as soon as I saw this card, I thought, I don't know, there's something about it that made me think of underwater. So then I brought out this set, and here you can see I've created a mermaid scene. So I just fussy cut the mermaid, used some Stampin' Up markers to color her. You can see the vines from the set here I've stamped along, and then I actually used the leaves from the poppy set and I brought in the vellum vines to kind of make it look like it's underwater. I did more sponging around the edges, but really, like, you could do this with anything that you have. And I think a really fun challenge for us would be for you guys to show me how you finished your projects at home using supplies that you have. That would be really exciting to see. Okay, so there's your 3 projects for the month of March. I hope you enjoy them. Please let me know if you have any questions, and we will talk soon.